Dear poor people, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt your evening. I know you're busy doing poor people things, but I just saw this and I had to come and talk about it with you. Listen to this.
Do you think that a woman should put a man first when it comes to relationships and marriage? Ari?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No? Okay. Quinn?
What's the question? Should a woman put a
Should
man
a
first?
woman put a man first when it comes to a relationship or a marriage?
Before a marriage?
In
Yes.
a relationship
Men come-
or a marriage?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Mike?
Absolutely.
AV?
Yep.
Brittany?
No.
Nigga, say the
No.
truth, nigga.
Don't be shy. No. Don't be shy, Brittany.
Brittany.
Speak your truth, girl.
Mhm.
Chris? Chris?
Most definitely, yes.
Okay. Divine?
Absolutely yes.
Okay, let's watch this clip, y'all.
I don't agree with putting a man first because when he leave you, then what? What you gonna have? What you gonna have? If you put your all into a man will leave you with shit and bricks. I say
The court systems favor women. Actually, women will get everything if a guy
no,
gets up
but
and
I'm
leaves.
saying, okay, so
So I heard somebody else say like, oh, like the house and blah, blah, and then you'll have nothing. I'm like, actually,
But
in
not
the
even
current
to that
environment of what
extent.
happens to men in courtrooms, you'd have pretty much everything.
but the man gotta want to marry you. These never put a man first because even though this is my life. You know what I'm saying? This is my
But if you were
life.
married,
If I was married, I still wouldn't put my husband first. There's a lot of people nowadays that doesn't understand what a union is.
well, if you're,
And-
but I would argue potentially that you're that person because you just said if we got married, I would still put me first. That's
Would he
not a
put me
union.
first, though? Would a man put his wife first?
Yes.
So you should always
Yes.
put,
Yes.
what I'm saying is, I feel like you should always put yourself first. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to a guy, you shouldn't put a guy over yourself. That doesn't make any sense.
Why do y'all think that a woman should put a man first in a relationship? Let's start with relationship. In a relationship. Ari, you disagreed. Let's start with Ari and Trigger first because y'all disagreed. So go ahead, Ari.
I feel like if you're going to be in a marriage, that your first priority should be your children.
Okay, so let me tell you, I cannot tell you all that is wrong with this, but I will give you a few so that you can go ahead and resume your evening. First of all, a relationship and a marriage are not the same thing. And we are living in a perilously sad society if we are trying to figure out how to behave in a relationship and how to behave in a marriage as if they are the same thing. That's ridiculous. A person earns the right, a man earns the right to be put first in a marriage. A relationship is where he determines if you are someone who can or is willing to put him first. That's what the relationship is. The relationship is your opportunity to determine if you are that kind of person and if that is something you're willing to do. And if you are, and he extends the offer of marriage and you accept the offer of marriage, then yes, you should put your husband, because he's not a man anymore. Now he's your husband. You should put your husband first. Keep going.
Because your husband is going to be out working. Your husband's going to be doing what he needs to do. When he needs you, he'll come to you. You need to be taking care of the home, taking care of your children. Your husband doesn't really need you to focus on him. He needs you to take care of home. He's doing his job. Do yours. Take care of your children.
So the problem with this is this woman, and God bless whoever she is, this is certainly not a personal attack on any of them. However, it's unfortunate that this question is far beyond apparently the capacity of most of the folks who are speaking on this video. The fact of the matter is you are conflating the difference between time and priority. So because your husband is working, you're saying he doesn't need your time, or because your children are at home, they need your time. That is not the same as priority. A priority means that I make you my highest endeavor. It doesn't mean that I spend the most amount of time on you. That's irrelevant how much time I spend on you. But the fact that you are my priority says that when your need occurs, when you have a reason to need me, at that point, that need supersedes all others. And the reason you never, and women, God love you, I'm a woman, I understand, never, ever, ever, I'll say it again, never, ever, ever put your children first. That is a huge mistake that many women make, is that they want to love, love, love their children. No, you need to love your husband and raise your children. That doesn't mean that you don't love them. But here's the reason you don't put your children first. A marriage is the context within the space, the environment, the place within where you're going to raise your children. Now, if you're raising your children on a seesaw that's going like this, then the children are going to have difficulty finding their bearings because it's not stable. So the most of your energy and effort has to be in stabilizing the foundation where they can be raised. That foundation is the marriage. So you put your energy and your resources into stabilizing the marriage. Why? So that your children can have a stable foundation upon which to be raised. Go ahead.
Hmm.
Okay, trigger.
So if you just focus on the relationship part, most definitely not, putting him first. I think that both of you all should be equally, considering each other, especially if you're preparing for marriage. Both people's goals should be on the table and which goals you're going to like attack first if you're planning on moving together. And so, that's just, I feel like both.
All right. So I'm not sure if she's married. If she is, she really should, reconsider some of this. Let me tell you why both people having both of their goals be equally important is $200. Do not pass go and go straight to the divorce courthouse, because they told you in science class somewhere probably around the 5th grade that two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So nothing can ever be equally as important to everyone all the time. That is a recipe for failure. Go ahead.
Partners can be prioritized. I do not think that you should put the man first. And I say especially in the relationship part, because there is no ties. There is no extra ties that, if it ends, you get everything because you're not married yet. And the relationship at that point can end, even more frivolously than if you were in a marriage, because it's not any like legal binds, spiritual binds in certain situations. So yeah, in a relationship, it could, you don't know if it's going to a marriage, you don't know if it's going to end. You should definitely have something for yourself and be worried about, if this ends, I'm gonna still be good.
Okay, so and this is the last point I'm going to make. I'm not even going to finish this out. I just wanted to come to you very quickly in case you wanted some understanding on this and you saw it as well. First of all, women, please, no woman should be in a relationship that she doesn't know where it's going. Why don't you know where it's going? You don't know where it's going because you haven't required anybody to tell you what their intentions are. So if someone comes up and says, I would like to take you out, or I'd like to have your phone number, whatever it is that they're saying to you, your question should be, and why? And they should have to tell you exactly why they want your number, or they'd like to get to know you, or they would like to eat with you. And at that point, you can evaluate their intentions. And if in the very beginning you don't have an understanding and they don't actually tell you that they are looking for a wife, that they would like some type of commitment, that they would even like a relationship commitment, whatever those intentions may be, you should never be out trying to figure it out. You should absolutely know. And that way you can hold the person accountable against what they said. If they said, I'm just looking for someone to hang out with and have a good time, then you can hold them accountable to that. If they say, I'm looking for a wife, I'd like to settle down, I'm ready to build a life, and I'm looking for someone to bring into that life, you can hold them accountable to that. But if you're just going out, wishing and hoping, mouth closed, legs open, and don't know what's going on, you can't hold anybody accountable to anything. And all that does is when the relationship ends, which it almost certainly will, when the relationship ends, leaves you bitter and mad and angry. Thank you. Tell them, Forrest.
That's all I have to say about that.